October 16th of 1962. I had just reported for work, and we were advised that we were to immediately be taken out to the dog kennels and taken onto our posts because the bombers were leaving the base and they were going on alert because of the Cuban Missile Crisis had been declared because they had discovered the Russians had placed those missiles in Cuba and had refused to take them out. And President Kennedy had ordered an alert for all the Strategic Air Command. So they were leaving the base and heading for Russian targets. And shortly after we watched the bombers leave, all of the tankers left the base. So now all those planes were gone, and we're out on post in broad daylight, which we never did. And wondering now, well, there's nothing left for us to guard here. And it was kind of an eerie time because you didn't know what was going to happen. Whether they were actually going to send nuclear missiles into the United States or what they were going to do. And we stayed on alert for 30 days. For 12,
I was going to ask.
yeah,
So
we were on duty for 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
all hours, though.
Oh, yep, all hours. Yep.
Wow. Did you
And
have a sense of relief when the crisis ended?
no question, no question, big release. But the second was on November 22nd, 1963. And I was sleeping in the barracks, having come off the night shift, when a sergeant came through knocking on doors and told us to get in uniform and report to guard mount because the president had just been assassinated. President Kennedy had been shot. So we immediately reported again. And again, they took us out to the kennels and loaded up the dogs, and we were taken out to our posts. And at the same time they were doing that, the bombers were leaving the base again because they didn't know initially whether this was some kind of a Russian plot. So once again, we went on alert for 30 days, 12 on and 12 off until that whole thing, wound down. So those were the two major incidents that stood out to me as a dog handler at Blytheville Air Force Base that I'll never forget.
And of course, it's really stressful for you. Could you notice any stress on the animal's part for the changing of the routine or?
Well, dogs are like horses, it goes up and down the leash. If you're stressful, they are. And they can read it. So they're all hyped up and really looking for something to go on. So they're looking all over the place. And they're just as anxious as you are.
Well, and something I want to bring up, because while you were here, as you mentioned, the Chuck from the previous slide
Yep.
stays, I guess, marries and stays in Blytheville. And you did help with some training. I do want to look at this particular photo, though, before we get into that a little bit, because this looks like just a good old training photograph, like you were describing with some of the arm stuff.
That's exactly what it is. We call it circle agitation and gunfire. And
Okay.
what's going on here is a trainer just has a sleeve and the dogs and handlers are in a circle, and he just goes around and stirs them all up and fires off blanks to really get them all fired up.
Well,
It's great training.
I was going to say when they get fired up too, they look like they really like they are involved.
They're involved.
And I also like this particular photo because for anybody not familiar with the Blytheville area, it does a very good job of showing how flat and this place is. And
It is that.
yeah. Can you talk a little bit about because you were here in Blytheville for how many years?
I was in Blytheville for my full 4-year enlistment.
4 years.
From 61 to 65. And the thing that stood out to me when you mentioned that flatness was when I arrived was the cotton fields. Just all the way around the base, you had nothing but cotton fields. And it's just a flat, really no rise in, and I'm sure that was why they chose that for an airport. It's a perfect place to put an airport.
Yeah, and what was do you remember going into, the downtown of Blytheville used to be a very uh, happening place.
Oh no, it was. We used to go downtown all the time.
Yeah.
And it was a great little town.
Um, Let me see. I got what I thought. I'm sorry. This is one I want to highlight though, because this is you. It looks like um This is some work with the Blytheville Police Department.
Yes, that's Chuck Miller with his dog Rebel, and that's me with the sleeve on in that photo. So him and I worked together for a good 10 weeks on that dog. And we would check guys who would volunteer out of the county jail to lay tracks for us to help us do the tracking.